My name is Arturo Giamuniani, and I'm the president of Argent Homes.
All right, welcome.
Hello, guys.
Let's talk about Talk Modern Homes.
Another podcast.
Yeah, another episode of this podcast. You excited?
Let's talk about modern homes.
Yeah.
Let's make it happen. Hello, everyone, and welcome, and thank you for being in this podcast with us. Like we normally do, this is about, let's talk about modern homes, different subjects, different titles, different situations. But today, specifically today, we're going to talk about the market, the Tampa Bay real estate market, which obviously involves also modern homes. But we're just going to take you away from the architecture part, and we're going to go into the reality part of the real estate market in Tampa.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about how the market is doing right now and how has it been doing for the last couple months.
Before we do that, this podcast is being brought to you by Argent Homes. It's every Thursday from 2 to 3 p.m. It's live on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube.
Spotify as well.
It's Spotify. A bunch of channels that you can actually um, hear us. And let's go back to the Tampa market, the real estate market. For you guys that this is the first time watching this podcast, a little bit about Argent Homes. Argent Home is the Tampa-based luxury modern home builder. We build exclusive and unique modern homes in the Tampa Bay area in St. Pete. Um, you can visit our website for more information at www.argenthomes.com. Now we can go into the real estate market. So, what is the current status of this real estate market? Everybody has different opinions about the market.
What is your opinion about the market? I got my opinion. So what do you think about the
I
market?
hope we agree on the opinion, but the market is somewhat funny now. Um, we know that there is an issue with interest rates. Obviously, the interest rate got jacked up.
All right, I think 1 second. I think we got a technical issue right here with your mic. 1 second. Okay, let's do it. Let me see. 1 second. Test. Is microphone not working? Can you give me the other microphone? You got two more in that drawer right there. Sorry guys, we got a little technical issue, but it's all fun and games.
It's about live TV, right?
Yeah. Sometimes things goes a little bit not our way. You should put it. Well, can you check if it's working now?
Well, I hope it works. But anyways, I was just referring to the health of the real estate market in Tampa, and like I said, there's a lot of opinions in regards to what, and everybody is basing it because of different factors in the economy and in the market and in the city that we are right now.
Yeah.
So it depends how you look at it, and it's kind of you can make your own decisions. For instance, interest rates. If you look at it, just interest rates.
Yeah.
Well, there's a problem, right? The interest rates are up.
What is it right now? 7.25?
It's between 7. Sometimes lenders have it at 8. Depends on the credit. It all depends on how strong you are financially. But compared to a year and a half ago that they were at 3%, obviously we had a 100% increase in interest rate,
Big difference.
which it makes a difference, I believe, in different levels of the market. Uh, um, I think we still have a problem.
Yeah, I guess we still have a problem with your mic. We can share one mic.
That works.
Okay, we can share a mic.
Okay. Well,
Is this one working? This is the one working?
what we need to do is fire the producer today, but this normally is not supposed to happen. Anyway, we're talking about the interest rate. Again, there was an increase. If you think about it in terms of numbers, an increase of perhaps more than 100%, which it makes people's decisions very difficult, especially buyers that are on a very tight budget, and they have already managed that budget to be at a certain number for the mortgage expense, and all of a sudden, hey, 100% increase in interest rate, then you need to add a lot of more money to that budget, and sometimes salaries or paychecks don't rise that much, and creates a problem where people would say, "Hey, I'm going to wait until this interest really cool down, and maybe I'm going to wait for the next wave of low interest rates so I can make my purchase." I differ with that opinion, but that's probably what happened in a lot of cases today. That some areas of this real estate market are in a waiting mode. So what happened is there's a lot of perhaps low-end inventory that is not being moved because of not only people making the decision to wait, just pre-qualifications. Period. I mean, you can qualify at 3%, and maybe you are so tight with the numbers that when you take that interest rate to 7%, maybe you just don't qualify anymore to buy a house. So that's one of the aspects.
Yeah, but that's basically on the entry level homes. We're seeing that problem, but I think on the luxury market and modern homes, we got a lot of people are also coming paying in cash from different part of the United States and for different part of the world as well. And we also got something that is interesting with these luxury houses. We have low inventory of luxury houses and just new construction in general. I was actually looking at inventory this morning. And inventory, we have less than 1,000 construction in Pinellas and Hillsborough County outside of Riverview and Polo Beach. Compared to migration to Tampa, 1,000 homes is nothing. I think it was actually 936 or something. What do you think about the low inventory that we have right now?
Well, that's another segment of the market. Obviously, the bigger segment of the market is the one who's actually worried about the interest rates. The small segment of the market, which is the luxury homes or homes priced at a higher number, the market is reduced. And yes, what Lay was saying is correct. There's some people moving from different parts of the country and from overseas where they sell their property in their own, wherever they live, in different states or outside the country, and they get a lot of money for the property. And when they move to Florida, they actually get a better house, a better living conditions, better quality of life for maybe half of the price that what they sold their property. But it's not the case of everyone. Most of the time, what we're looking at is the entry level, the first-time home buyers, the people that they know that the rents are through the roof. We all know that. If you make numbers, and it's not difficult to make, what are you paying for a three-bedroom apartment or a two-bedroom apartment compared to what are you going to pay for a three-bedroom home when you purchase? There's no comparison. There's multiple cases where people pay less in a mortgage than when they pay for rent. So, but still, there is this line of qualifications, and it's based solely on interest rates that makes that payment higher. People maybe, like I said earlier, don't qualify, or they feel uncomfortable to pay more money because now you need to allocate a bigger portion of your budget towards the living expenses.
Do you think this is going to be like this for a while? Do you think interest rate is going to go down end of this year or next year? Do you think people should be, even though the interest rate is 7.5, right, buy and refinance when it comes down? Do you think it's even going to come down to under 5? in the next 3 4 years?
If you would have asked me that question back in 1990, when interest rates were 14%,
Yeah.
and everybody was happy because they came down from 16%, and people were super happy. I got it at 13%, 12%. Uh, Interest rate have waves too, and then it went all the way to five, and people were just refinancing. It went to three. There is waves, and it's based on market condition, but also the economy, how the economy is going to react. The inflation has a lot to do with it. You know, the bond market has a lot to do with it. Interest rate, I don't think that they're going to go higher. There's no need to bring it higher. The market is not bringing the interest higher. It's a decision by the Federal Reserve to bring it higher so they can cool the inflation. But obviously, we're going to get to the point that inflation is going to be stable, and there might be opportunities for the Feds to say, hey, I think the interest rate can go down maybe a quarter, maybe half a point or a point, whatever the case may be. What I know is also taking the interest rate aside is that in Florida, in Tampa, like Blake said, there is a low inventory of properties. Yes, the high-end properties, there's super low inventory. Um, People are waiting in any category, okay? Not everybody comes with cash. So even if you are looking for a higher end jumbo mortgage, the changes in interest rate will make a difference too, even bigger difference in dollars, okay, a month. But the inventory, there's still people buying, and it's healthy. The current condition, the living conditions here in Tampa and in Florida, where still we have an average of perhaps 1,000 families moving a day to the state, coming from different parts of the country, still a fact. And therefore, these people need to live somewhere. That's why perhaps one of the reasons that the rents are high.
Rents are through the roof. If you go look into like rent downtown Tampa, or even if you look at a house in Carrollwood or something, which used to be back in 2014, rent in downtown Tampa was $1,200, $1,300. Now it's $2,500 for a one bed, which is a huge difference. But I think we have a lot of more opportunity in Tampa nowadays as far as more jobs. There's a lot of development that is going in Tampa, better quality of life, and people are willing to pay the extra money over the years.
Well, and also there's a lot of influx of young generation of people that actually, based on after what happened with COVID, they got into different type of businesses and they're making good money. And the fact that we have in Tampa, we have developed this Water Street or Midtown. Everything is new, and there's a lot of entertainment, a lot of restaurants, and a lot of nightlife attracts those people, and they don't mind to pay $3,000 or $4,000 for one bedroom apartment.
Water Street is about $4,000.
What's that?
Water Street is about $4,000 for the apartment.
Oh yeah, you got it. $4,000. I mean, I would never pay $4,000 for one bedroom apartment, but there's people that they do. So, like I said, the market it has different categories. Okay, yeah, we're looking at the first-time home buyers as one category, but then we're looking at the high end, the people that actually are selling their house to because they needed a bigger space and they're looking for another resale, another house, another bigger house.
Well, one of the things also is like I was looking at is, and we obviously um are on top of it on weekly basis. Is like land. There's not much land left in the city of Tampa to buy, and even the land that is available, it's outrageous amount of money that they're asking for. And I don't think that's going to come down. It should correct itself at some point, and the land should the prices should come down so people can buy and build on them. But what are your thoughts on that?
Well, we're getting overcrowded. The same reason that people are moving to Tampa, and we have families moving on a daily basis. And again, everybody wants to be near their job, or everybody wants to be near the school. Everybody wants to be near the university. Everybody wants to live near downtown. So, like Lay said, there's no more land to develop. There is though, but it's away from Tampa. So if you're willing to drive, half an hour, 45 minutes. You can move in either direction. You can go up north to Hernando County, even Pasco, Hernando County, or you can go to Lakeland and taking the corridor, the I-4 corridor. Um, there's still perhaps better deals in housing than what it is in Tampa. But it is like everybody says, location, location, location.
But I think it's also one thing is obviously location, but like we just had this hurricane come in last week, and then there's houses that are built in 1950, 1960, and they got flooded. So I think a lot of people are trying to buy new construction and instead of paying an outrageous amount of money into flood insurance, and then also deal with the headache of their house get flooded or their garage that they have their nice cars and bunch of storage in there, and now it's all flooded. I was driving in an area in St. Pete, and it was you can see everybody has their stuff out, which is unfortunate. But also that's why we try to push people for new construction and be like, hey, new construction is the way to go because codes and building these houses way higher than what flooding is. Um,
I think that's a good point. And here goes our first advice: if you are in the market for a home, based on what Lake was saying about hurricanes. Hurricanes is kind of a, I guess, normal situation for us. Maybe one year we get lucky, we got nothing, but most of the time here and there we get either winds or flood or, thank God, never catastrophic. Thank God. Okay. But if you're in the market for a new home, you need to think about the height of your home. If you're looking for, there's some areas in Tampa that they get flooded, even if a hurricane doesn't hit us. It's just a lot of rain will flood those streets, and the water will get into your home. If the house was built in the 50s, in the 40s, and you think you got a good deal, well, you got a couple of problems. You may have a good deal, but you may have a flood problem, or you may have to pay a higher, super higher flood insurance just to recover, and then deal with the consequences of getting flooded.
and some of these houses are not even the 1950s. Some of them are built into 1990s, and they're still with the same codes from an old code, and it wasn't updated to the new code of standards that were built to now.
So if you're looking for houses, and obviously if you go into houses that are actually after 2000, 2005, 2010, look for houses that are elevated. And that's the key. The word elevated means a lot right now. It's going to mean a lot in the future. We know that it's global warming, whatever you're going to call it. I'm not getting into that. But yes, rains happens, hurricanes happen. Houses need, especially in Tampa, especially in certain areas like South Tampa, for instance, St. Pete. St. Pete is a coastal community. The water is right there. So everybody likes to live in the water, have a nice view of the Gulf, but you need to live with the water because the water rises 6 feet and that's it. The house is gone. So buy homes that are being elevated for your security, for your protection, and also as a cost, you pay less than the other people in flood insurance.
And you don't even need flood
And
insurance.
sometimes you don't even need flood insurance. That's correct. But security, but dealing with headaches after a big rain or whatever it comes to you as far as natural disasters, the houses need to be elevated. That's what we build. We build houses that are really elevated. Not only they look good, because they do look better than the houses that are actually at floor level, but they protect you and your family for future natural disasters.
You know, some of the hot cities that are well, not the cities, the areas I'll call it in Tampa that's been booming, like Tampa Heights. Um, Seminole Heights, we used to build in there a while back. We were building bungalows, yeah, at some point, and it was a very nice, cute neighborhood. Now Tampa Heights are turning a lot of modern houses in there along the river, and then we got also in the Tampa Bay area Snow Isles, which is a historic neighborhood, but we have a lot of modern homes as well in there.
That
What do
area
you?
is flooded.
Yeah. Well, what do you think about the transition of Tampa? And this is how I see it. Tampa Bay in general was more traditional houses, was more transitional houses, and now everybody's trying to transition into modern houses. Even if it's a smaller house or a bigger house, they're liking the modern houses aesthetics better than the Mediterranean houses or the Spanish villas and stuff like that. What are your thoughts about it?
What can I say? We build modern homes, so
Yeah.
I have to agree with you.
No, I know, but just in general about Tampa, I
But
think
remember,
the crowd that is coming is just
but
like the lifestyle change.
yes, the influence from out of state buyers created this rush to modern, and the people that live in Tampa all their lives they see it and they want to jump on top of it on the wagon of modern architecture. The fact of the matter is, 15 years ago, there was no modern architecture in Tampa. Maybe once in a while you find kind of a modern, but not completely modern homes, modern architectural style. But nowadays, most of the new construction is being done. I would say 75% it's modern. And what it was a boom 10, 15 years ago about Mediterranean homes, it stopped. And we got cases where people, they have Mediterranean homes in the market for sale and they look fabulous
Yeah.
at a great price. But it's not just the price and the architecture. They're looking at the architecture and say, well, I wish I can have this house at this price, this big, with all this, but being modern. And sometimes, sellers, they feel frustrated because it is frustrating to have a house that is beautiful, but the people don't like the architecture because they're looking at modern. They can compare, and they see that modern is the lines are much younger, cleaner, and it is the architecture of today. Why? There's a lot of people in California that moved to Tampa. And in California, there's a lot of modern, a lot of people in New York, a lot of people in South America. I mean, there's countries in South America, they have more modern homes than what we do here. Especially, I was born in Argentina. In Argentina, there's a lot of modern architecture. Brazil, Colombia, even Mexico. So it's catching up. It was a fever that started about 5, 6 years ago here in Tampa. We had it in Miami for a long time. Here in Tampa it started, and now it's just it's very not unusual to see a modern home being built.
Now, so another thing is obviously the pricing of houses. So obviously we got older houses that skyrocketed as well over COVID. After COVID, prices went up, and prices for new construction also went up. And obviously there's two school of thoughts in there: material and labor went crazy high, and we know that we get affected by it every day. And land went crazy high as well. Do you think the market in Tampa right now is stabilized? Do you think it's going to keep going up? Do you think it's going to go down? What is your opinion? Do you think we're at a stable market right now, where somebody's, if they're in the market to buy a house today, they can say, okay, well, the market is stable. It's not the skyrocketed prices that was COVID, because prices did stable and come down. But what is your
Well,
thinking?
we're missing an ingredient on that. COVID brought the cost of materials, cost of labor, um, uh, deliveries were taking longer. Everything got complicated. But also what it brought the prices up was the craziness of people moving into Florida. Because remember those days, people were living in a building in New York and 24 floors, and everybody got in the same elevator. They didn't want to touch anybody. People felt like they were trapped
Yeah.
on an office space in New York, or even going into the subway. And I'm talking about New York. I can be talking about any other city. So there was a fever of different social markets that they moved into Florida. People that were coming here and rent, but people were coming here and grab anything that was available,
Yeah.
anything. So that created what? They created demand. When you got more demand than inventory, then the prices go up as well. So yes, the COVID, brought a lot of high prices because of the cost of construction and the labor shortage, but also the craziness about buying homes. There was no tomorrow. I mean, People were buying homes sight unseen. I mean, it was over the
Yeah,
internet.
there was lines for open houses. Yeah, lines and
Now
bids.
that subdue. I mean, that actually came down. I mean, obviously, there's still people moving. Don't get me
Yeah,
wrong, but not at the same level it was when after COVID. The people really felt the need to find open space, being in an area where they're not feel trapped and stuff like that. And we still offer that. But it's just Florida. I believe that we are in a situation right now that is very, very difficult to imitate in any other city in this country. We have a combination of a lot of factors that makes it very attractive. Not only the weather, the beach, the low prices, low prices on everything, okay?
yeah.
Gas and food and um,
No
but
income tax.
not state or city income tax like they do in New York, perhaps. But there is many factors why people are coming in job opportunities, especially in Tampa.
Yeah,
We're a big cosmopolitan city right now. Yeah, Miami is a big cosmopolitan city as well, and they have attractions, but most of it's tourists. And Orlando has also a lot of attractions, but
different.
that's Mickey.
Yeah,
That's that's the parks. And if you close the parks, then nobody goes to Orlando basically for any reason. But in Tampa, we have a lot to offer and a lot of room to grow. I believe.
I would agree with you on that. That's definitely what happened over the years, over the last 2 years. But I do think the market has stabilized. I don't think the market is going to go any lower than where it is right now. Obviously, we got next year is an election year, so that's going to be a little bit hectic for real estate, but that's just every election year in every market, you know. But got a question in from Diego. What are the possibilities for international investors to buy in Florida? Well, I will hand the microphone to Art. He's been dealing with that for years now.
So, Diego, thank you for sending that question. What are the possibilities for international investors to buy in Florida? Well, uh, believe it or not, there is a lot of international investors buying properties. Give you some examples. There's a lot of professionals in other countries that they send their kids to American colleges and they buy a property for their kids so they can come here and study, or they buy properties, for investment. They can rent it. But the good thing about investors, international investors, is they have loans right now. They have loans. Banks, um, they used to have it before the crash, then they stopped because of the crash. Now they came back with these foreign national loans where you actually, if you're a foreign investor, you live, let's say that you live in Mexico, you are a professional, you have your practice, you make good money, and you say, I want to buy a house in Tampa and I want to rent it, perhaps, right? Well, you can access to a foreign national loan, just showing your assets, showing that, obviously putting, I think it's about 35% down. The bank will finance 65% of your purchase on a 30-year mortgage at current rates. You don't need to show that you are either resident or citizen. You can actually show your passport. You can have your accountant overseas generate a letter saying that you have a business that is in good standing, and you obviously your bank statements from your banks in let's say in Mexico. I think it's super easy for an investor that decides to purchase a home, not only in Florida, I'm talking about any place in the States, but Florida, it's good because of the fact that even for vacation, they can say, okay, I'm going to buy a house near the beach, and then every year I just travel.
For 11 months and
Exactly. And then I come here and spend my vacation here. But yes, there is a good opportunity, Diego, for investors, any type of investors to actually invest in this country. They can invest cash, obviously, but there's a possibility of getting a loan for that purchase.
But it's also one thing that we have talked to foreign investors in the past. It's you can easily start an LLC in here, have everything secure in your name, which is huge for a lot of investors overseas. You can just put it under a name of an LLC, and you can go to sleep very comfortably, knowing that everything is in your name and everything's good to go.
Yes, and also, and I don't want to go and touch the immigration aspect of everything, but there are visas from the American government that if you invest money in the states, their visas, depending on the amount of money that they request, that you can actually buy either a business or a property and demonstrate that you're hiring American labor, that you can actually get your residency, your citizenship eventually. So there's a lot of things that people need to, if they're interested in perhaps one day living in this country, or moving to this country, that they can actually talk to their immigration attorney. But again, possibilities are endless. But if we go back to the market condition, I believe that the market condition and people, and again, I am very skeptical about using the word recession, because what I notice is a lot of people in the press, in the news, that you have one indicator that something, for instance, the rates went up for whatever reason. There's one indicator, or the demand is down for whatever reason. They're already just using the word, oh, we're going into a recession. And I hear that a lot. Are we in the recession? We're going to go into a recession, right? Why? Oh, because the interest rates are going up. No, we're not going into a recession. If you look outside, that interest rate going up, the market is still healthy. There's people moving, there's people buying, there's people, they have jobs, there is jobs. Recession is a big word that needs to be applied correctly. I mean, because you got one indicator that is off, you cannot say it is a recession. Now, if you got all the indicators, you got no work, no job opportunities, interest rates are up, there's no real estate sales anywhere, there's no loans, banks are closing. Well, let's talk about recession then. But it's not the case now here or in the United States. I mean, the United States is not in recession. And sometimes they say that because they want to scare people, or maybe because news sell if you say there is a recession and people will read it. But I have mixed feelings about how the news are being handled.
Yeah, I mean, just looking locally, how many buildings are starting construction now, and they're going to be finished in 2 years or 3 years. It's a good indicator of the market. How many luxury buildings are starting? All these investors and all these builders and stuff like that will not be starting a lot of construction downtown Tampa. We have a huge investors as well.
Look at the
One of them
money.
is Bill Gates.
Yeah, with the money they put in Water Street. The
And Water
billions of
Street
dollars
is
went into Water
billions,
Street.
yeah.
In Midtown is the
They,
same way.
yeah, and they just start tendering on the Riverwalk as well, the luxury 5-star hotel and residence, which is crazy. I don't see any recession happening locally, and I don't think it's gonna happen nationally anytime soon.
There is an old saying. They said that if you build it, they will come, and that is exactly what Tampa is all about.
Yeah.
There is a big investors that they put their dreams and their money. A few years back, developing downtown Tampa, Midtown, Riverwalk, all of these new things that's happening. They have confidence that Tampa was going to blossom, and Tampa did blossom.
And that's what I think is also going back to the low inventory. Tampa cannot keep inventory. It's like always sell, which is a great.
It's a beautiful thing. So, folks, one of the advices that, and if I may, very humble, for people that are actually on the fence, trying to make a decision as far as do we want to move forward with purchasing a house? You still can get good deals from builders. There is builders out there that are building a lot of homes. They have a lot of homes and perhaps in subdivisions that they can make a good deal to you if you're ready. But I will still keep the confidence about the economy. I will still keep the confidence about the city. And it's not hard to see what's going on and have a positive mind. We cannot go after, in real estate especially, we cannot go after a decision with a negative mind. Yes, we got issues in the past. I am not going to obviously forget about those issues. And people refer to what happened in 2007. Oh, we got a bubble. No, we don't have a bubble today. We had a bubble back, 15 years ago. That was a bubble, a big bubble, and exploded. Right now, people buying homes, they qualify with their own income. They have to show where the money is. They have to show the down payment. There is more strict qualifications for banks to give loans that it was back 15, 16 years ago. So that's why I'm saying it's healthy. Now, if it was 15 years ago, the people were qualifying because you got good credit only, and and maybe you didn't work, but you got good credit. And people were actually buying homes based on good credit, and they couldn't afford to pay. That creates a bubble because that buyer is not real. Today, in today's market, we got real buyers with real
Real job.
with real jobs and qualifications are real. Obviously, anything can happen. I mean, people can lose their jobs for whatever reason, or if they want to change jobs or whatever, right? But those are normal reasons beyond what happened 15, 16, 17 years ago. If you're in the market, I would suggest you start looking because if you keep paying rent, you're actually losing money, more quickly than if you buy a home.
Especially if you're gonna come here and rent. I would definitely highly suggest, yeah, buying, putting a deposit and buy. And there's different obviously products with loans and stuff like that. You don't need to put a ton of money down. So again, this podcast is always gonna be every Thursday at 2 o'clock. It's gonna be on Facebook, on Spotify, and different other outlets. I think we're gonna post it as well on LinkedIn and things of that nature on social media.
Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook. I think that's where people are watching this right now. It's on Facebook.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anything else that we can talk about the real estate marketing?
Well,
Any other thoughts that we missed?
um, there is a thing also. Is a lot of people are actually looking at indicators or news that are coming up when we look at different cities, how different, not only cities, how different states are doing as far as migration is concerned. And if you look at this, big states, I'm talking California, which is perhaps one of the biggest that we have in this country as far as population is concerned. Yeah, California has what, 90 million people, something like that? It's like a country, right? Okay. We're talking about big states: California, New York, Michigan, New Jersey, all the Northeast, all the Northwest, and then you take Florida, for instance. So, and sometimes when you read news, you need to really capture the essence of the news. If you look at how many people are migrating away from those states for whatever reason, it can be economic, it can be maybe higher rents than what we have here, or the price of the land is went through the roof, or it's not just the economy, it's maybe political decisions being made that will affect you, and maybe taxes, whatever the case may be. If you do the research as far as what's going on outside Florida, you will see and you will find that those states have a higher percentage of migration going into states like Florida than people moving into their own state. So that tells you, and is a big indicator for people to think, are we in recession? If you got people coming because they're coming here and they want to invest here, or they want to live here, they want to work here, is that a recession? Maybe those states, they feel the pressure because there's a lot of people leaving, it's less taxes they will collect. But where are they going? And a lot of them are coming here. Okay. So again, looking at news and listening to the news, we need to be very, very picky nowadays because dissect it. That's what I said. And look into a source that is credible. People can say anything they want, and they can write anything they want. And it's up to you if you want to believe it or not. So you do your research and then think, are we okay here in Florida? Are we going to be okay in the future? Well, look at the industry moving in. Look at Amazon, for instance. All of the warehouses that they have developed in I-4 and I-75. Amazon is incredible. But also big industries, big companies are moving their headquarters here. Why? Because they're paying less taxes, less property taxes than what they pay in another state.
Well,
And
yeah, that's one thing, but also the lifestyle. And, they can work in here, and then on the weekend they take their family to the beach. It's what's beautiful about Tampa Bay. You can't do that in Orlando, but you can do it in Tampa Bay.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, folks, again, I just wanted to put a little, emphasis on news, and that's why we're here, talking about the market because we've been in this market. I've been in this market for over 30 years. Late, I've been in the market for almost 15 years. We understand the market. We understand, the how the the market can actually go up and down in different times. We're looking at indicators that will show us some perhaps problem in the future. Just to mention something, I'm very connected with the Tampa Bay Builder Association, which is the association that groups all of us, all of the builders in the area. And we have meetings twice or three times a year, and we talk about the health of the building industry here in Tampa. Folks, I can tell you that every time I go there, everything is positive. Yeah, we talk about interest rates. And yes, we talk about, sometimes the difficulties of people buying the first home he has. And we already discussed that. Yeah, it is the only problem that I see, and it's not going to stay here forever. But the overall health of the economy, the overall health of the industry in this area, especially in Tampa, is healthy. They brought economists from Washington. They brought specialists, people that actually in the finance world, they come in to give their speech, and everybody agrees to one thing: we are okay, and we'll continue to be okay for now. I mean, obviously, we don't know what's going to happen in the
National
future.
builders are buying big plots of land in the Tampa Bay area. Well, more like Riverview as well. So in the vicinity, and they're start building and deploying 3,000 house community, 2,500 houses community. So they're putting a lot of money and they're bringing a lot of resources into the Tampa Bay area in general, and they're locating assets from different states and bringing it in.
We still have an issue with labor. Don't get me wrong, okay?
Yeah,
Because
labor.
we suffer as well. I mean, the labor shortage, it's an issue. Shortage of because of changes in immigration policies. That we also need to. It will affect us, but that's a problem. Like any other business has a problem. I mean, there's issues. No business is perfect, but you need to look at the overall picture. Before we didn't have shortages of people, but maybe there is a shortage of lumber. So, in every business, especially in ours, there's a lot of factors that will contribute to having problems. And we do. But the confidence, the people's confidence, the confidence of the consumer to buy from houses to cars. Look what happened to cars. The cars, the used car prices went to the roof. Why? Because everybody wanted to buy a car, and obviously there was no inventory.
Uh, you buy a car and a house comes with it, and everybody else wanted to buy a house and a car comes with it. Now, at this point, with the car market so expensive.
So, but not only that, folks. I mean, we got people like Lamborghini, Ferraris, and they're bringing their branches here in Tampa. So that tells you that we have all sorts of, social income people that, and again, if the economy is not healthy, no company will invest in a place that we have problems. And therefore, everything that you see around you, from new buildings to companies building their headquarters to job opportunities, anything that is going on in Tampa and the surrounding vicinities is positive. We don't want to talk about something that is not positive because what we said is basically what we feel and how we feel it because we study the market, and there's other people out there that will perhaps think the opposite is just for the fact that maybe or they're going to understand the market or they just just the way they inform people. They like to sell newspapers or they like to sell bad news. You are the judge. You can actually determine for yourself in what status Tampa and the vicinities are today.
find and subscribe to our podcast in your favorite podcast player on Spotify, iTunes, Google Podcasts, or the YouTube channel that we have. We look forward to doing this every Thursday at 2 p.m. and looking forward to seeing you next week at 2.
Visit us also because obviously this podcast is being sponsored by Argent Home. Visit us at www.argenthomes.com. That's our website. And please subscribe to the YouTube channel. And I hope Leith and I have the same wish that you can enjoy this and you can perhaps get good information. Perhaps maybe you can make a decision based on the information that we're giving you or not. But it's information that can be, it would bring knowledge to your guys. Thank you for watching us again. God bless you, and I hope I can see you the next time.
Thank you, Art, for being here. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Leith, and thank you all for watching this podcast.